Hello, welcome to the TMR podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you're listening on Spotify, please follow me as well on the TMR podcast. This is episode 2, and don't forget to subscribe to weekly reviews, news, and all things movies and series. Enjoy the second episode. Sweet. So, welcome to the second episode of the TMR podcast. I'm your host, and today I'm with my good friend from high school, actually, Alex, or as she goes by nowadays, the Clumsy Critic. You can check her out on, well, not check her out, but you know what I mean, on Facebook and Instagram, and what other platforms you got?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which I rarely use. YouTube.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Sure. Then I'll be sure to provide you a link below if anyone wants to read my comment section. Oh, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so basically today we're here to review a little movie that just came out yesterday called Raya and the Last Dragon. And me and Alex are both fans of, Disney. And as a grown man, 24 years old, I'm not afraid to admit that.
That's
that's the most important part. I still act like a little child when I go to Disneyland and watch every Disney movie, especially when the logo comes out and everything. So no shame. But yeah, I think this is one of the first times that me and Alex ever had a conversation, so this is gonna be good.
That is sad but true.
Yeah, I mean, I guess high school was a confusing time for all of us, but glad to know that we have something in common.
True.
All right. So basically, do you want to introduce the movie, or do you want me to do it?
I feel like I might ramble if I do it. So you.
You know what? I'll do it. Okay. All right. So basically, Raya and the Last Dragon is about a girl named, well, obviously Raya, and she is part of a kingdom which used to be called Kumandra, and it's basically used to be this haven for dragons and humans before, I guess, greed and everything started coming along, and then these monsters called Droon came along and started turning everyone into stone. And then after that, it's basically a dragon called, I'm gonna need you to help me with a name here. Sisu. You know what? It was on the tip of my tongue. I thought it was something far more. I was like, I went on Sisu Datu. I was like, oof. So yeah, let's just call her Sisu for short. That's better. That's better, I guess. Yeah, it's close enough. Okay, so basically, she sacrifices herself and turns everyone, back into life except all the dragons. And instead of using her dragon gem for good or worship, people kind of use it for war. And I guess Raya is basically on a quest to unite all the kingdoms and I guess bring back everyone from the second coming of the Droon. I mean, that's pretty spoilery, but I'm sorry. Anyways, spoiler alert.
If you haven't watched the movie, why are you listening?
Yeah, exactly. So deal with it. Deal with it, exactly. Okay, so before we go on, it's going to be spoilers, so please, if you haven't watched the movie yet, then just go watch the movie, and if you don't mind, then carry on. But yeah, please. I guess that's Alex. You can go first. What did you like about Royale and the Last Dragon?
Well, there's a lot of things I liked, but the first thing I want to point out that I really loved was when Raya enters the temple of the dragon gem, I guess it's what it's called, for the first time. She takes off her shoes, and I was so excited for that, even though it's so such a little thing. but because in like a lot of Southeast Asian cultures, it's normal to take off your shoes in the house. That I grew up in the Netherlands where people don't do that. So for a lot of people, that's probably like, oh, why would you take off your shoes if you enter a house? But when I saw it in the movie, I was like, oh my god, they actually put that in. That's so cool. So that's not my highlight, but that was the first thing I noticed.
I thought that was your favorite scene. I was like, okay, wow. Raya takes off her shoes.
Yeah.
Favorite scene. Best ever. Top 5 Disney scenes of all time.
Yeah. That was the highlight. But yeah,
okay.
Yeah, just a small thing that I really appreciated.
That's fantastic. Okay.
What was my favorite part? I liked a lot, but what I really appreciated was just the like how the people look, like the Asian looks. I was so happy with that.
Okay.
I think I cried like 3 times because I was like, Raya, she's so pretty. Because I grew up in the Netherlands where there's mostly white people. Like I grew up in a predominantly white community. So then I was the Asian kid. And when I went to Thailand, that was reversed, which doesn't really matter. But when I see Raya, that is how I see myself. And I probably don't look like her to other people, but to me, if I see her, that is like, oh, that is what I look like. So I think it's very cool that they made a Disney princess that is Southeast Asian. For like, if I'm impressed with that, then the little kids that grow up now are going to be even more impressed with that. So that I think was like one of the big things that I thought was good. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I would agree with you there as well. Like, I like the looks, and I also like to point out like how beautiful all the settings, all the locations are. It's based off like quite a lot of the Southeast Asian countries, like Vietnam, Thailand, and so many other places.
Yeah, I thought that was also really cool, especially because we get to see all the different tribes. Because they introduce them in the beginning of the movie, and then we actually get to visit them and see what they look like. I thought that was really cool because you can talk about something and then not show it, but then they actually went and showed all these different kinds of places, like a floating market and like a very, very big city. Well, it's not really big. The Fang is like a big city, which reminded me a bit of like I guess Beijing. But also the desert where the movie starts. I thought that was really cool. Like all the different environments. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. And I guess that the fact that they put us in all these different locations, and it's more of a adventure movie than it is a Disney princess movie, I guess. Like
true.
All these locations, and there's not much breaking into song or anything as well. And I think that's kind of refreshing. And one of the best things about, I guess, a lot of the locations is that it portrays how rich or poor the places are. Like Fang looks really, really rich and majestic, but inside might not be so great as Namari said. But I think that Heart looks the most, wealthy and everything.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to point out about Heart though is like, okay, it's supposed to be the capital, right? It's supposed to be like, the biggest, most important part of Kumandra. But then when they are attacked, the only two who fight is Raya and her father. I'm like, guards, cooks, anyone?
I know, right?
Please.
I was surprised by that too because all the other tribes managed to get to like that temple, and then I was like, where's the rest? Because Raya's dad does this really cool like entrance, and then he's there, but then all the other tribes come in at the same time, and I was like, where is the rest of their tribe? Where is it?
Yeah, where's Heart? I was like, guys, your king and your princess is in danger. Just move your asses. And they're all just running away like, ah. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? You don't deserve to be Heart. Jesus, I can see maybe like the only reason why why her father was trying to unite all the kingdoms was probably like he couldn't stand his soldiers anymore. They were too incompetent. They're like, I'm just had enough of this, man. I need some better soldiers.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, what else did you like about it?
I think one of the highlights is probably the overall theme is community, because throughout the movie we get to meet all these new characters and they go along on this journey with Raya and Sisu, which I thought was so nice, because in a lot of Asian cultures just in general, family is such an important part of like your life. So to have these characters that all have lost someone important to them or like their family come together and like fight these trolls, I don't know what they are, like these monsters, to sort of bring back what's important to them. I thought that was a really nice message to put in the movie as like a central theme. So throughout the movie I was like, they're a family. This is so cute.
Yeah.
And like the big guy loves the child, and then the little guy's like the Boone is like the little brother, and I just thought that was it made also for a fun dynamic, because you don't just have Sisu and Raya, which is usually like movies are about these main characters that are only a few, but then instead they put like these other characters in there to create like this really fun dynamic, and I thought that was really cool to do.
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, I think that one of the strongest points about this movie is that I guess the recruitment of sidekicks along the way. Like, people can say like it's convoluted, or like the more sidekicks they get, the less focus they have. But I feel like it's the point of the whole movie to have so many sidekicks and so many characters come join in, because the whole message of the movie is supposed to be unity, or like the sense of community as one kingdom.
Yeah.
So, and then like all of them have backstories. Like I think that Tong, which means gold in Thai, by the way.
Cool.
Tong has a son, was it? Yeah, he has a son and a wife and a whole tribe. And Noi has a mom. I don't know where her dad went, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into that, but
yeah, there's a whole group of missing parents in this movie, so
yeah, and all that stuff, and I think the more they put in, I guess, the less emphasis they had on the usual animal Disney sidekick, which is in this case Tuk Tuk. Tuk Tuk is I know what he is. He's the armadillo, right?
Yeah. So
I don't think we can find any in Thailand. I haven't seen one ever. But I guess that they don't grow that big either. If they did, then I'd be scared for my life.
But they make for handy transport, I guess.
Hell yeah! Like I get one and I train one, but like when I'm driving and I see an armadillo that big just walking around, like no, please spare my life.
So true. Yeah. But also the cats. I mean, like, because the people from Fang have the cats. And they all look cool and stuff, but we all know what happens in, like, I don't know if you've seen Tiger King, but
yes I do.
So I mean, is it a smart move to raise cats and ride them? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think Namari or her mother have gotten to the point where they lock her up and start singing music videos about cats or seeing a tiger and shout out to Joe Exotic. But I guess that it was saber-toothed, wasn't it? Quite a few of them were like they had actual fangs coming down.
Did they?
If I don't remember.
Oh, maybe I didn't know this.
Yeah,
cats, cool. Yes, cats.
Let's pretend that they had fangs. Totally. Yeah, come on. I would look so bad if someone just goes on Google right now and say, "Oh no, they're just cats." I'm great. Yeah, wonderful. All right. So, what else did you like?
Well, I wrote a whole list, but let me just point out something that surprised me. Because I remember when I was reading the cast list for the movie, obviously Awkwafina is the voice actress for Sisu, and I know I was a bit hesitant about that because, right? I know because when I see Awkwafina, I think of this really like comedic actress, and I was scared that like the dragon that the movie was about was only gonna be the comedic relief. So I was a bit hesitant when I saw the first trailer and when I saw the movie, because when she first gets introduced, she's also like the comedic relief. But I was pleasantly surprised by her voice acting, because she did really well. There's a few moments where her character has these like profound moments, because she has lost her family as well, and she knows what it's like to fight these monsters. And she talks about those, and I thought that was so well done, because usually the comedic relief characters are just that, like comedic relief. But I really like that they also put like very profound and important moments for Sisu in there as well, because these moments become really important as well to Raya's character development. Like, she keeps telling Raya you need to trust people, and we see that then Sisu gets like scammed by all these people. But in the end, it does help Raya, her character development, to like find trust in all these other people. So I thought that was very surprising. I was really pleasantly surprised, because I was a bit hesitant. But no, Awkwafina did a great job. Actually, everyone did a great job. I really liked Kelly Marie Tran as well as Raya. So voice acting was just top notch. Raya's a badass. That's just
I think that Awkwafina, she's like not slowly. I think she's been writing it to stardom for quite a while. Ever since, like a long time ago. I mean, she was in one of the first mainstream movies she was in was I guess Ocean's 8, but she didn't have a big role there, and people appreciated her more in Crazy Rich Asians as the comedic relief, and I guess like she started showing her dramatic chops in The Farewell and all that stuff. And right now she's like, she's the dragon in this one, and then she'll have a role in the Marvel movie coming out in the summer as well. I think it's Shang-Chi. But I agree that she did a good job, and I think just everyone did a good job. I'd like to know who was behind the big guy, because like that voice is so similar. I don't know if it's Wong from Doctor Strange or not. It sounds so much like it.
It is. It actually is.
Oh my god, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I knew it. Benedict Wong. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It sounds like Wong, man.
I saw the credits. I was like, oh yes, nice.
Yes, thank God. I would have looked so bad if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But yes, thank God it is.
You were correct. Yeah.
Yeah. It I can imagine Tong talking to Doctor Strange and all that stuff as well. But I guess anything else that you like? Or is this just in general? Maybe like I'll ramble on, and then maybe if you have anything to add, then just please feel free to add.
Yes.
And so for me, I think that one of the most important things about this movie that I really enjoyed was like, the representation of Southeast Asian culture in a mainstream movie. Finally, for too long we've been, only some scenes have taken place in Thailand, and most of the time it's like, for The Hangover, and we're portrayed as this really wild culture, let alone Vietnam, Indonesia, all that stuff. But this is the first, mainstream company which actually comes in and explores our cultures, albeit merged all together into one. But I think it was so great to see so many things. One of the better scenes that I liked was the part where they just talked about who they lost, and Boone, lost quite a few, so he floats a few more like purple orchids than the rest. And I guess that Raya floats one because she only has a dad. # where are the moms? But I guess that the dad meant a lot to her, and also just I think that was a really nice touch, as well as just bargaining at the float market. That's so real. Like people might see it as stereotypical, but no, it's actually really realistic.
Yeah,
and,
that's so true.
and like some of the boats that you see in the Kingdom of Fang or whatever, or the design of the castles in Heart is literally Thai architecture, which is like it's a really proud moment for Thais. And actually it's a pretty big deal in Thailand right now, this movie, because it incorporates quite a few things of Thai culture in there. Most notably, I'm sure you know this, is Tom Yam Goong, which was
yes.
Yeah. It's literally, when I saw it I was like, no way, this is the dish for the movie. Yeah, like everyone had their bao moment or their dumplings moment, but for me, like, finally Tom Yam Goong is in the movie predominantly. Like Raya's dad just teaches her how to make it, and she also just makes it for her community or family, I guess. And yeah, I think they did a pretty accurate job at making tom yum look that tasty. And I also think that the shrimp congee, like in Thai it's called chok bung, like literally is on the streets of Thailand as well. And boon is literally, he means merit in Thai. A majority of the characters actually have Thai names. Raya, to an extent, is Thai, but also a bit Indonesian and Malaysian. But Tom, the big guy, is Thai because he stands for gold, and Noi is little in Thai, and explains why she's a little corn baby. And Tuk Tuk, I mean, I don't have to explain Tuk Tuk. Tuk Tuk is literally. But yeah, I think that was one of my most favorite parts about this movie, is that Southeast Asian representation in a mainstream movie. And also, apart from that, I think that the animation is really good. Disney, regardless of what you say about their content or whatsoever, I'd say that they are the best in the game when it comes to animation. Like, just overall rendering. No, I'm not gonna take anything away from Leica, because those guys are stop motion, right? But for Disney, compared to like DreamWorks, Universal, the ones who make Minions and all that stuff, like I feel that Disney puts a lot of attention and care into each and every detail, like the fur of the dragon, the texture of the water, or like the sky, all that stuff. The fabric. Yeah. Exactly. It looks beautiful. It looks really nice. And I'd say that a lot of the cinematography was also gorgeous. Yeah, there's a lot of shots in the movie. Yeah, really, really. And I guess another thing that really worked for me was the overall message, like, of community, because in a time like this, I mean, it portrays humans as really realistic. Like, the first thing that people should do should be like to thank this big dragon who sacrificed herself for everyone. But the first instinct humans do is just fight for it, which is really really realistic. But the sense of belongingness that everyone has to eventually unite. You can say that for almost every Disney movie, but in this one in particular, it paints a really good message. And I feel like for parts of the movie, I thought the Droon was COVID-19. I was like, oh, I was like, this must be COVID.
It's a good metaphor though, honestly. If you think about it.
Yeah, literally. I think it was. They were made out of what? Human hatred and greed or whatever. Greed and stuff. Yeah. Like literally no other explanation. It's just that. I was like, okay, you know what? This is spiritual. It's cool. It's cool. And that's what I really, really liked about it. And I guess that it's time to come to the not so good parts. Do you want to begin? Okay. Do you have anything that you didn't like about it or thought could have been done better?
The first thing noticed after I was thinking about the movie was that I thought the soundtrack was a little underwhelming. Maybe this might just be my personal opinion because when I watch a movie, soundtrack is so important. I have like a playlist of like my favorite soundtracks, and usually there's this usually there's this really big like moment where then the music becomes really important, and like it's very the music is very important to the atmosphere. Usually you have like the climax, and then there's this music, and you're like, oh, the climax. Like for example, in the Portal soundtrack in Infinity War is like that is like.
You're pushing my buttons. You're pushing my positive buttons. Oh my god!
But then I kind of missed that in this movie, and I think maybe I was too busy with like being crying about the end during like the big end scene. But I think it should have happened there, but then it didn't really happen for me. So I didn't really think any of the soundtrack stood out to me.
That's a very good point. Like I actually want to support you there because it wasn't something that I was thinking of before, but now that you mention it, that I totally agree with you because like nowadays you see so many composers, they sort of integrate the culture or the sounds of the country or culture into the soundtrack. Case in point, Black Panther. Ludwig Göransson, he integrated I think it was a lot of African culture and African music into the Black Panther soundtrack, and then most of it made it look so authentic and so good. But with Raya's soundtrack, I guess it was just so generic, like just like
there wasn't really anything. Like I know there's this one soundtrack where you have like the sort of soft vocals and they're like chanting something, which I guess is like memorable, but not like it's very generic memorable. Not like this is the best. Like this is the highlight of like the climax of the movie, and here's the climactic soundtrack, and here's the climactic scene. That doesn't really happen. So I thought that was a bit like during the movie I didn't really notice it when I was watching, but then afterwards I kind of thought like, oh wait, did they have? Was there a moment where I thought, whoa, I want to save this soundtrack and listen to it over and over again?
Yeah,
it wasn't really there.
Cannot believe that I'm saying this, but I could really relate to you regarding the whole importance of soundtrack because I'm like a soundtrack geek. Like my how everyone, especially our friends at albeit BBS or the ones we met in uni or whatever, they share their end of year playlist like 2019, 2020. And then everyone's like, oh, they have I don't know, I'm being really generic here, Drake or The Weeknd and all that stuff, Post Malone. I'm just like, I'm normal too. And then I just go back to my playlist and I'm like, Alan Silvestri. I was like, oh god.
Yes, so
oh no. Yeah, I didn't want to share mine. But I get what you mean. Which is a bit weird also, considering that the composer is actually pretty well known. It's James Newton Howard. Oh. He is actually, in the film industry is a pretty big name. Like he's done movies such as, the Fantastic Beasts series or, Green Lantern. Oh God, Jesus! I'm trying to look up his resume here, but he's actually been nominated for an Oscar a few times, but I don't know why that the music in this one sounded so generic and so. Bless me for saying white. No, it's true though. I agree. That's weird. Yeah, so very weird.
Usually Disney has amazing soundtracks because maybe I'm a bit biased because I just love like all their music and stuff, but also just the soundtrack numbers are usually very great because I remember watching Frozen 2 and like being so impressed with that soundtrack. Or
I didn't like that movie, but the soundtrack was good. Yeah.
Yeah, the soundtrack was good.
I understand. The soundtrack was good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
But yeah.
you can always count on Disney to have a good soundtrack, but I guess for this one was all right, or yeah, middle of the road stuff.
Yeah.
Which is a bit disappointing. And I guess what else did you dislike or think could have been done better?
What I think was we talked about this as like a positive just now as well, but
okay.
it's not like it's sort of similar, but not really. I think sometimes the movie tries to show too much, which like as a positive, it's good because you could show a lot of like Asian cultures and stuff like that. But then sometimes I feel like that made the movie a bit rushed because the switch between all these different tribes happens quite quickly. Like we don't spend a lot of time in all the different tribes. It's like, oh, we're in what was the first one, Talon, and then we go to the other one, the leg. I don't remember what they're called.
Yeah, Talon. Wait,
Talon
there's tail, Talon, spine. I guess is it spine?
Oh yeah, spine, and then Fang and Heart.
Fang and Heart, yeah.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But basically, we especially in the first one, which is like the desert. Then as soon as we hit the boat, they're gone, and then in the floating market, there's a bit of time there. But I feel like the most of the time spent in these places is, let's show everything that is in these spaces. Which is good because obviously we get to see all these different like cuisines and all the food that is very Southeast Asian, or like the clothes or the people. But then I don't know. I missed like sometimes it felt a bit rushed, but maybe that's
I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean there. And I think the rushed is really good leeway into one of the things that I thought was just a little bit too fast as well, was the ending. Like I felt that was really not the ending as in the end fight or anything, but I guess the aftermath, like there was no need to just cut away at so many of the moments, like when Boone or Noi or Tong was reunited with their families. Like I would have kept the scene on them a bit longer, just like hug his sister, or hug his, Tong hug his daughter, or Noi hug her mom, and all that stuff. It just sort of cuts away everything really quickly, and then everyone's suddenly at heart, and then no one. This is the weirdest part about the whole thing, about the whole ending. Like no one gives a damn about the fact that like hundreds of dragons just came back to life. But and then I'm like guys, there's like 100 dragons now, and they're like, oh, I missed you, but guys, dragons. And then everyone's like, oh, Sisu. Now there's like what, 55 Sisus or 60 Sisus. Like there's just so many. And then when she went to finish the movie, I guess when she floated up and met her brothers and sisters, I was like, is no one honestly going to address the fact that the dragons have returned? I mean, why not? Just everyone just look at Sisu.
Especially because in the beginning of the movie, they put so much emphasis on, the dragons are our saviors, and like they fight over dragon magic, like they fight over the gem, and then as soon as the dragons are back, they're like, what gem? What magic? Whatever.
Yeah, like whatever. Like, oh my god, there's like thousands of dragons up in the sky.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's slightly weird. But aside from that, what else did you do you have anything else before I one thing
one thing I also missed was the deeper connection between Raya and Sisu, because you know how because at the end it's an understanding between like everyone that Sisu and Raya are close because they've been together traveling for a while. But I feel like there's so much happening and they're moving between these tribes so fast that we don't really get to see them bond as much as we should have had for like the story to benefit. Because at the end, Raya's depressed because Sisu falls in the water and like dies. Spoiler. she dies, and then but then I get that she's sad about that, but I didn't, as a viewer, I didn't understand their relationship as well, because I didn't feel like there was a lot of time for that relationship to like develop into a good friendship. Maybe.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point. Like, I felt that, especially, you know, there comes a twist at the end of a majority of the animations, and then I feel that like her death and everything was sort of expected, especially when Namari was loading her arrow. I was like, no, she's definitely being shot. But but yeah, I felt that there was this connection was just a more yin and yang kind of thing. Like they just didn't see eye to eye, or they were two different people, and then finally they sort of, you know, became one person eventually. Because you know, Raya was very she was reluctant to trust after what happened to her, and then Sisu is this more naive creature who's been like, you know, laying for 500 years or whatever. And that is sort of the only explanation we can get to their relationship. But anything more personal than that, as you say, not as much as other Disney movies.
Yeah,
I agree with that too. Anything else?
No, you can move on.
Okay.
And then I'll chime
right.
in.
Okay, so my main negative, like apart from what I just said, like the main thing for me was that it wasn't that funny. Like that was the one problem I had. Like I feel that Disney movies are particularly, you know, these animations are really, really funny most of the time. Like Soul was funny with a really good heart as well. But with this one, well, I found myself laughing at some scenes. Some scenes are good. Like I like the Con baby. She's adorable. And I also like what you call it, Tong, and how much of a savage he is, but sometimes he can be like really refined. Like he's the only one who knows the baby's name.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like there are so many moments that you know, especially because I'm a fan of Aquafina, I like her, but some of her lines I was like, okay, it was giggling funny. It wasn't laugh out loud funny. And then I know that this isn't a outright comedy, the way some other films are, but I expected it, like, for a lot of the humor to work a bit more for me, but I guess it didn't. Yeah, I think that was the only downside to it for me. That was like really, really big. But aside from that, and what it said during your parts, I didn't have a problem with it. So yeah, I think we're just gonna get into ratings. For you, how much would you give it out of 10?
Well, I feel like I always rate things really high compared to like other people, but
yeah,
I want to give it a 7 out of 10.
Ah, okay.
Is that low or high? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's either like a 9 and I'm like 7. But
how dare you? I was gonna give it an 11. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. What? I loved it, as in I'm super happy that we get the representation that we need. But there's just a few things that I thought could have been done better.
Definitely.
Like I said just now, the soundtrack or the story progression and stuff like that. But just having that like Southeast Asian princess out there and like the culture represented in a movie is just amazing. So that it's the reason why I gave it a 7 out of 10.
That's I guess, you know, I was gonna say I was expecting like an 8 from you. I was like,
oh really?
Oh my god, she's crying. She was crying. She was like, she's gonna love it. 7. Whoa.
You know how I cry in every movie. I cry so easily because I'm so easily impressed. So that shouldn't be like, I know that I do that, so that's why I kind of adjust accordingly. Okay.
I mean that's good. That's good. I mean, I find myself as a emotional person as well, especially when watching movies. So I can totally relate to you for that. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a bit higher than you actually. I'm gonna go 7.5. I thought, no, this is not because I'm Asian. there are going to be some people on the comment section, if I have any, that will be like, oh, you only give it a 7 because you're Asian. I was like, no. I think it's a refreshing movie. Like, animation's good, message is good, plot itself is good. Like, everything is good. But the thing is, it's not great.
Yeah.
The things I'm missing, I guess that separated this from the last good Disney princess movie was at least for me, was Moana. I guess, well, no, you can't really say that the songs from Moana was better because Raya doesn't really sing, but I think that that just worked more as a whole, and the dynamic and the I guess chemistry with the characters and everything, the soundtrack, and just all the components as a whole just worked better. This one, I'd say entertaining, enjoyable, and important. And yeah, I'd say it's a very solid addition into the Disney princess franchise or universe, I guess. Like, I wouldn't mind watching a second part or a third part or whatever, but all in all, yeah, solid 7.5.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, okay, sweet. So that concludes our podcast. And I guess that thank you for I was about to say having me on, but why would you have
I should say that
why would I
you.
have myself on for my own podcast? I was like, okay. Yeah, but yeah, thank you, Alex, very much for appearing on my podcast on the second episode. Like,
thank you for
it means a lot to
me.
me. Thank you. And like, considering that we didn't really talk in high school or anything, that you agreed coming on here means a lot.
Well,
a single tear is gonna fall from my eye. But, I think it's great, and I see that we have a lot of common interest when it comes to movies as well. So I hope to see you back for a few more episodes in the future.
I'd love to. Yeah, no, I was really surprised you asked me because we didn't really talk in high school. So to have you value my opinion enough to have me talk about it in a podcast is an honor. I'm super excited that I get to do this. So thank you. No,
definitely.
For having me.
Definitely.
And
I think sure.
If you want me again, then I will be here.
Okay, sweet. Because I think what made me like think of you when I was about to watch Raya or anything was the fact that we had like a conversation about like Endgame like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, she has very similar interests, so yeah, why not get her on? So yeah, you can expect to see Alex or the Clumsy Critic back here again at some point. And yeah, I guess thank you everyone for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment on the video, and if you're watching on Spotify, please don't forget to follow me. Thank you very much, and yeah, see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Sweet. Bye.